In this episode, I sit down with Fatma to talk about cybersecurity, online scams, AI, and legal tips every entrepreneur should know. She also shares a powerful message for Tanzanian use and breaks down what most people get wrong about lawyers. Let's get into it.
Fatma, how are you doing?
I'm fine and very well today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It feels good to have a lawyer on the show.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because most people, they don't understand law, so they don't know their rights. So I'm sure today you will enlighten them.
Sure.
Can you please introduce yourself? Who is Fatma Songoro and how did you get here?
So, to briefly introduce myself, Fatma is a tech and cybersecurity lawyer.
Okay.
I currently work at a law firm called Victor Attorneys and Consultant,
Okay.
one of the leading law firms in Tanzania. And I head the firm's technology law department. I am also involved in a few other roles.
Okay.
I am an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I have a company called Huzur Takafu Agents that offers insurance services.
Okay.
So if you need insurance, I'm your guy. I'm your girl.
Yeah.
I am also serving in different boards.
Okay.
I sit at the board of the Tanzania Women's Lawyers Association.
Okay.
I am also a director at the Tanzania Privacy Professions Association.
Okay.
And I'm also a board member to a foundation called the Pink Hijab Initiative.
Okay.
I'm also involved in one of online platform, which is called the Africa Legal Hub, which is created for lawyers in the African continent, aimed at sharing different legal opportunities and assist them in their career.
Okay.
I am also a co-founder of a platform called the Da Legal Hacker Chapter, which is part of a global movement for legal hackers, whereby it brings tech, startup, academicians, lawyers to really sit and discuss about the intersection of law and technology in a very informal setting. So it's having these talks that are really down to earth. I'm also I normally host with a group of friends a silent book club that is called the Dar es Salaam Silent Book Club. So, in summary, those are a few of the things that I'm actually involved in that will, in one way or the other, define me.
I can see you wear so many hats.
True.
Yeah, so how do you balance between all of those? Because I'm only involved, let's say, in a few stuffs, maybe 5 stuffs, but they drive me crazy.
True. I think I get asked a lot about how I'm able to juggle in between all these roles and involvement. But I think how I do it, I'm quite very passionate in all these areas, and there's quite a connection in several things that I'm doing.
Okay.
And so, for me, one thing that I normally do is try to prioritize the things that I have to do.
Yeah.
Look at what really requires my attention at that time and then give it my all, ensure that I do it with excellence, and then move on to the other thing. And I really like getting involved in different communities and spaces. And so that passion, that drive, I think also assists me in being able to manage, I would say, my involvement in several stuff. But I also have a very good support system from my family, from my friends, and the people around me, from my colleagues at the office. Everyone is always able to offer some flexibility and support. And I think that's what truly makes it possible for me to get involved in all these roles and activities and communities.
You mentioned about cybersecurity, and I've heard a lot right now that there are even cyber police. Like when you go to Oyster Bay, there's a department for cyber police, if I'm not mistaken. So why should people care about cybersecurity?
So I think actually when it comes to cybersecurity, we all need to care because if there is no proper measures, if there are no proper safeguards in the digital space that we're all interacting, it means that we risk being exposed to identity theft. We risk having our private information being illegally accessed or leaked. We risk having someone maybe use your M-Pesa, like your mobile money, maybe taking money out of your account, because a lot of our life is currently online. And so I think most of the time when we talk about cybersecurity, people really think it's something very complex, but actually they're very tangible, basic stuff that every person needs to be aware. Is your password strong? Do you have a multi-factor authentication? Are you securely updating your computer? Are you keeping up if you're using your phone, your iPhone, updating it? Are you ensure you're using the right apps? Or are you checking for the security measures and features that are in place? And so actually, I think everyone needs to have a little bit of understanding of cyber hygiene and how we can use digital platform and tool in a manner that's safe, in a manner that's secure, in a manner that safeguards our transaction and existence online.
So there are a lot of hackers nowadays. Like every single day, I receive messages of someone trying to phish us. Like they want to walk away with their whole podcast. Yeah. And it drives me crazy. I'm like, what if one day, let's say I give a manager to manage my account and he or she falls for those kind of scams? Like 2 years of hard work, of information, of value that we're trying to provide might just vanish like this in a single day. So how do people like me, ordinary people, or a viewer who is watching right now, how do they protect their digital assets from hackers?
So I think you spoke about phishing, which I think it's one of the common ways cyber criminal use and social engineering to kind of get to someone. I think in Tanzania we have tuma kwenye namba hii, like and you might think it's not working, but actually there's a lot of money that is getting lost by someone just sending money to thinking they're sending to person A, but it's actually going to a criminal. And so to that, it does require someone to really take the time before you click anything, before you open any link, before you send any money, before you do anything. Take the time, I would say, to pause, to really understand, to really check, to really verify who is asking you to do something online or who is asking you to send the money, just to ensure that you do not fall into this phishing traps or like scenario. But it's also about ensuring that when you, because in one way or the other, you might find yourself, sometimes the message might come from someone that you actually know, a number that you actually know. So it requires you to kind of be more vigilant when you're engaging and to kind of always verify that information. But I think even when instances such as someone is able to hack your account, I think nowadays a lot of social media platforms offer manners and ways in which you can recover. Let's say it's your account in Instagram or in YouTube. And so for anyone who suffers any incidents, I think they need to take measures to recover or obtain back access to their platform, rather than just getting frustrated and thinking there's actually no way you can recover that account. But I think also when you speak to a lot of people who are in also the tech, they will tell you how there's a tendency of people to like buy accounts or like sometimes use accounts that were actually not theirs. So sometimes someone will hack your account and then give it to sell it to someone else. And then someone will buy that account and start using it. And then later they might realize, or that account maybe might not get the traction that they initially had, or it might be closed down. And so they might now come back and say, I was hacked or this happened, but actually the account was originally not them. So especially for people who are building like online presence, please ensure that account is yours. Like you registered it, you didn't buy it from a third person, or you didn't just acquire it anyhow unless it's properly acquired.
Online accounts, let's say Instagram accounts, they are considered as digital assets because people use them to make money. I've seen a lot of niched accounts, let's say the accounts based on tech, the accounts based on marketing, and people make money from those accounts. Either is from promotions, from ads, from selling products, and later they even sell them at a hefty price. So how do someone buy those accounts to ensure their safety?
So I think it's true actually that online accounts are digital assets,
Yeah.
And people normally want to monetize,
Yeah.
However, in order for you to do that, I'm not saying that you can't buy an account. Sometimes people buy a business and they also have to acquire. Yes, so it happens. However, you have to ensure that you're buying it from someone that you know, for someone who can prove to you that they are the people who created that account, that they have ownership, and rather just getting it from someone who might have actually acquired that account, maybe by hacking someone else's account. And so it's quite important to do the due diligence to ensure that you're buying an account that belonged to the person who is selling you the account, and that you try and ensure that you change the account number that's linked to that account. You change the email, like ensure you also get proper control of those accounts. And I think you previously mentioned that you want to give someone access to your account. I think Instagram has currently started a feature whereby you can give someone access for them to be able to post, but they wouldn't have like the full access to maybe change, to delete the account, to do this. So I think that's also a tool that needs to be in a lot of platform, whereby for people who are using the online platform for commercial gain, to be able to share access that's not a complete access to the account. And so I think that's what I would summary say.
Tuma kwenye namba hii or tuma hapa has been a very popular scam.
True.
And I've noticed that it's very serious. Like the police take it very serious because almost every day I receive messages from police Tanzania that don't send money to this kind of people.
Usitapelike.
Don't send money online to someone that you don't even know. Like, don't fall for these scams. That by itself, I believe that the police department in Tanzania, they spend a lot of money to educate people. And for them to spend that kind of money, it implies that a lot of people are losing money.
True.
So you being a cybersecurity expert and a lawyer as well, so how do you catch these people?
So when it comes to such scamming, it's true that it's quite prevalent.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, if you do get those messages, what do you normally do?
Sometimes I used to try and play with them, and I also send my number like, okay, wewe pia tuma kwenye namba hii.
So actually one thing that I normally like to encourage people is report the number.
Okay.
TCRA has a dial. I think it's, I'm not so sure, but I will confirm maybe and share it with you. You can
we'll
keep
put
it on the
the
link.
link, yeah.
Whereby if you do get that kind of message, the first thing I think you need to do is report that number to TCRA, because they take the initiative to kind of see and maybe block these people who are actually sending those messages. And this is one way in which we ensure that someone does not keep on doing it.
Okay.
So reporting is one way in which we can address this challenge. I think the other one, when it does happen that you have sent actually the money, I think then you need to take the extra step to actually go and report the matter to the police, because this now is a criminal offense, and you have the right to go and report to the police. As you had previously mentioned, the police has a cyber forensic department that is supposed to be able to handle and do the investigation. And so once you do report the matter to the police are the ones who are responsible to actually investigate and find this cyber criminal. And when it comes to the legal aspect, I think it's an offense that is punishable, and people should understand and take that precaution that when you're trying to fraud someone online, it's still a crime, and it should not happen. I think, however, if I am to be honest, also, I think sometimes maybe people find that going to report to the police might not get them the money back. And sometimes people normally complain like the police would not help me. Like they feel maybe a little bit frustrated with the process because sometimes it can take time. The police normally say they're also overwhelmed with a lot of cyber criminal cases and issues. But I think despite it all, we still need to ensure that we report if you do suffer. And also we also use the CRA mechanism of reporting. But I encourage everyone to take action despite maybe not trusting in if you would recover the money or not.
A lot of Tanzanians right now, they do a lot of crimes online without even knowing that it's a crime. I believe it's because of understanding, it's because of knowledge. Let's say, for example, I just go online and go and insult someone or go and bully someone. That by itself is a crime, and you might be punished just because of that. But people do it every day, and they believe that it's their right. They believe that it's normal without knowing the other side of the law. So what crimes that are very common that Tanzanians do online that they might be aware of right now?
So I think when it comes to engagement online, there's quite a tendency of a lot of people, maybe because they think they are anonymous. Sometimes you cannot tell who it is by the account. They take that as an advantage to harass people, to engage in cyber defamation, to bully people, because there's a lot of bullying also. If you look at online, if you check Twitter, sometimes even in other platforms. And so in Tanzania, we have the Cybercrime Act, which was enacted in 2015. Which is very detailed in crimes that can happen in the online space. So when you talk about online harassment, when you talk about online bullying, when you talk of things like sextortion, when you talk about sharing, and actually this was an amendment done last year that I really worked on child online protection. There was a study done by UNICEF called End Harm, which indicated that there's quite an alarming rate of child online abuse in Tanzania. And so the government took the deliberate effort to amend the Cybercrime Act to accommodate child online sexual abuse materials or any kind of, for instance, online grooming is also now criminalized in our cybercrime. So for a person who is grooming a child sexually, trying to kind of interact with them in an appropriate manner, that's also a crime most people don't know. There's a crime for sharing non-consensual images. We see a lot of time the likes of connection videos that are maybe in one way or the other quite detrimental to someone being shared and circulated online. That's actually a crime. And I think sometimes people think if someone else is the one who posted the video, I could just share it. Like I'm just sharing it. Like I didn't bring it online. But even doing that is actually not proper. And so I think I'd like to caution everyone to really engage in this platform in a manner that's really, I would say, kind, in a manner that's very, I not in any way or the other violating anyone's right or working against to tarnish anyone's image. I think we have seen several cases in court whereby people were sued for cyber defamation just because someone went and said maybe Fatma is doing X, Y, and Z, which is not true, or maybe alleging I'm doing a certain crime, and the court has actually fined these people who did commit cyber defamation. So sometimes it's not even maybe bullying or harassing someone. Sometimes it's even bringing false information about someone that can actually get you in trouble.
So if someone says something about me that's not true, I can actually sue them.
Yes, if you can prove and show the court that defamation happened, that someone, whatever they shared, in one way or the other, lowered your reputation in the community, that maybe now someone cannot trust you, because we all go online and it's like it's easy for people to believe when they hear things online and not verify, and so that normally results into someone suffering some sort of damages to their reputation, and it's actionable in court.
Tanzanians, we are used to sharing connections, videos with each other through WhatsApp, let's say.
Are you one of them? Because you didn't say we.
So let's say someone. No, I'm not one of them. Just for the record. Let's say someone send me a connection, let's say of a celebrity, let's say Gigi, or let's say Diamond, or any video, let's say from Mange Kimambe. They send it to me on WhatsApp, and I'm like, okay, let me share it with my director. He has to see this as well. Am I committing a crime?
You are, because you are in one way or the other perpetrating that crime. Like, you're aiding with the circulation of something that's not supposed to be actually shared or circulated anywhere. You're quite aware that that is, unless it was posted by himself or the person who is in the video, with their free understanding and knowledge. But if not, it means you're violating someone's privacy, because that was no one comes to share their intimate videos online. So it's normally someone who maybe had access, or sometimes people are recording it even without knowing. And so if you're sharing it, you're actually violating someone's privacy, and that's a crime. And I think we need people who are more conscious in the digital world, whereby you actually take time to think of the harm that you're doing, the harm that you're perpetrating, and the damage that you're doing to someone, and always be considerate.
Why is it considered as someone's privacy while the information was recorded by themselves and the information is already public?
So, when it comes to privacy, privacy is a human right,
Okay.
Just because information is in the public domain doesn't mean it should be shared, or doesn't mean there are no privacy consideration in that information. Videos or pictures that in one way or the other do not even seem to be ethical or moral to be in the public space already indicate that's something that's private. And no one should be the one to share, because I think even if you imagine if someone did share a video or such a post, I think if they're a celebrity, maybe Basata would call them, or TCRA would call them, because it's already considered as unethical in our laws. And I think we have the online content regulation that lists a lot of things that are prohibited content. You'd maybe know that, for instance, in Tanzania, TCRA, the government has blocked access to pornographic materials, and so there's an understanding within the community that these are materials that should not be publicly available. And this also speaks that sometimes a child might come across that kind of content, despite it being in public, but we're exposing even our younger generation to things that they're not supposed to be within their domain. And so keeping it or sharing it public or to your friend or to groups is still a violation.
You have worn so many hats, as I said previously. You're a lawyer, a tech specialist, you're a board member, you also speak on events, on panels. So which one of these feels like the real Fatma?
So I think it's true. I wear a lot of hats. Maybe I'm a collector of hats. But I think the one that I really like or resonate with is the one where I'm really seated somewhere comfortable, away from the courtroom. I'm not in a suit. I'm just working on my privacy policy. I am reviewing my document. I am doing my legal research on consumer protection, on child online protection, things that I'm very passionate about. And so I think that's the one that really resonates with me and where I feel mostly myself. But I think if there was an additional extension, I think it's being able to serve or interact with the community that I'm in. And so the other hat, I think, is being able to being part of the Tanzania Privacy Professional Association, working with other people in a community. And I feel for me, a big part is also being in a community, working with people towards a certain goal, toward advocating for privacy, for gender equality, for legal aid provision. And this is why I am a member of the Tanzania Women's Lawyer Association or the Tanzania Privacy Professional Association and all this other community that I actively participate and engage.
You have been named as one of the 25 women who inspires others. So I'm wondering, who inspires you?
So I think a lot of people actually inspire me.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of, I would say, men and women who are doing like phenomenal things. But I think someone who has really inspired me to transform my career to tech, to cybersecurity, is a woman called Miss Mutheo. She is the first formally trained cybersecurity lawyer in Kenya. I had the opportunity to be mentored by her in a program called the Women in Cybersecurity. And so she did have a lot of impact to me because she's the one who really made me believe that it's possible for me to do more. It's possible for me to get into the tech, into the cybersecurity. I feel that is normally male dominated, and actually pursue a career in this field. But I think I'd like to also say that I think my parents have also inspired me a lot. My dad was in the legal profession. And so I believe that is also a big inspiration to me. And when it comes to me pushing myself, when it comes to me working towards my ambition, I think I owe that to my parents because they've really invested, really made it possible, supported me and pushed me to be able to attain and do better in my career.
So you're into tech and law. So as we know, tech is developing very, very fast. Like you might wake up 2 years later, or let's say someone who was asleep 3 years ago, let's say they were in a coma and they wake up today and they go online and they see monkeys talking in Swahili. They would be crazy about it, right? Because tech moves so fast. So how do you stay updated with the technology right now?
So I think that's normally a thing that a lot of people in the tech would normally have to struggle with, and I am actually no exception. It does feel like sometimes it gets overwhelming, but I think for me, one thing that I've kind of tried to do is really having newsletter or having people who are in the tech space who are always maybe posting or sharing information about developments maybe in a certain tool or they're sharing what has happened in a certain jurisdiction where there's a new AI law enacted. And so I follow them in LinkedIn. So I would say that is one way I'm able to keep up. I've also subscribed to so many newsletters that are related to tech and that constantly post updates. And so I spend a lot of time in my emails reading and getting these updates. But I'm also a part of so many, I would say, groups that are maybe on blockchain, that are in digital health. And in all this group, there is normally a sharing of information, of an update of what is happening in that field. And so that has really helped me to be able to keep up with what is happening.
A few years back, I had one friend. His name is Buhari. Shout out to Buhari. Buhari really wanted to become a lawyer, but his parents were like, no, you're a Muslim, don't study law, it's haram, blah, blah, blah. That by itself was a misconception, because I once asked a lawyer and they told me, like, in law, there are a lot of things that you can do apart from supporting criminals or defending criminals. There are a lot of things that you can do in law. So what are other misconceptions that people have about lawyers that you want to debunk today?
So I think there's quite a lot of misconception when it comes to lawyer. People normally tend to think that all lawyers are actually maybe defending or dealing with criminal cases. You meet someone and you tell them that you are a lawyer. The first thing they will say to you, unataka kutufunga. And it's always a surprise, because actually, in the legal profession, we have lawyers who work for the government, that is the public bar, and then we have lawyers who work privately, and that is the private bar. And so I'm from the private bar, like I'm a private counsel, and I do not work for the government. In Tanzania, all criminal cases are actually instituted by the government. And so if I am working as a lawyer in a law firm, if I am involved in a criminal case, I'm actually involved to defend, not to accuse, not to prosecute, but rather to defend. So there are no instances where I am the prosecutor, but rather I am the defense counsel, and that means that I am defending someone whose right might in one way or the other be violated. And this also speaks to people thinking that lawyers are always working with criminals to kind of assist them to get away from justice or what they have committed. But actually, that's not true. Sometimes people who are accused of committing certain crimes have actually not committed this crime, and they need a lawyer. They need someone to actually put their case to the court. Sometimes this, I would say, maybe person might have committed the crime, but maybe they deserve or they have a defense that they can make to the court, and the lawyer would help. Sometimes it's about assisting your client for them to get a lesser punishment, So it's not always that lawyers are there just to kind of, like I would say, assist criminals to get away with justice, but actually we are by professionally the people who are supposed to be aiding with ensuring justice is done. And we normally have this understanding that you are a court, I would say, like a court officer, or before you're even your client's lawyer, like you're there to serve justice and not to serve your client. And so I think this is something, it's a big misconception that I think most people have.
I asked that question because, as I said previously, a lot of Tanzanians are not aware of the law.
True.
So they think lawyers are just there to defend criminals, something like that.
Yeah, and I think that also speaks that, when it comes to the law practice, there is quite a wide practice area and like a number of things that someone can do. So we have people who do not even go to court. Like you'll never find them in litigation, but they're doing corporate work, They're assisting clients with regulatory compliance. They're engaged in merger and acquisition transaction. They're assisting investors in setting up business, in advisory, in compliance. I told you I'm a tech and cybersecurity lawyer. Most of the time, I'm sitting in my office drafting policies, reviewing different contracts, assisting clients that require my services. And so there's quite, I would say, a growing need or understanding that being a lawyer does not mean you need to be in court. It doesn't mean that you will have to get involved into criminal cases. They're actually civil cases. So civil cases, these are disputes that happen in normal transaction or interaction between people. And so that's also a big part of practice for lawyer. And so I hope anyone who had this misconception that lawyers are just there to assist criminals, that they do not carry that misconception, and I hope I'm able to convince them to change that idea.
There are a lot of those people online, they will see something and they'll be like, siwezi comment bila mwanasheria or like siwezi ongea bila mwanasheria. I've seen a lot of those kind of comments. Yeah.
So I think actually we are the people who everyone needs. Like lawyers are there to actually help everyone, and you need us, guys.
Yeah. AI, artificial intelligence, is changing everything right now.
True.
A lot of people are simplifying their work, their jobs, because of AI. There are some works that I could have done them, let's say, in 5 hours, but with the right application of AI, I can do them in 1 minute. Like a 5-hour job, I can do it in 1 minute. Let's say I want to research about you, about Fatma Songoro. Let's say I want to prepare questions to ask you on this show. Previously, it used to take me 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours just to go online and do a proper research about you. But right now, I can just use ChatGPT and just go there. I have this guest called Fatma Songoro. Can you prepare me questions? How many questions? Let's say I need 100 questions. And the AI will go and research you in seconds and bring me all the questions right there. This is very beneficial, but it's also scary for some people, because let's say I had a manager who used to do that job of researching guests. Right now, I probably don't need them, because let's say I pay them 500,000 shillings a month, but I can only subscribe to AI, let's say just for $30 a month, and it does the same exact job. So, you being a lawyer, are you scared of AI?
So no, I'm not scared of AI, and I think you said that you made a reference that the AI doing the work to perfection as your manager. If you did have a good job, if you did have a good manager, the AI cannot do the work to perfection as I believe he or she could.
Okay.
And I think AI is a tool that can assist with efficiency. It can assist with our day-to-day understanding of things. But as we currently stand, I think there's actually always a need for a human being to actually scrutinize the output, to actually ensure that that you're getting content that's actually true, because fact checking is very big. There's a lot of hallucination in these AI tools. I think recently WhatsApp launched the Meta AI, if you've seen it, like in your WhatsApp. And so someone was trying it in our office, in our law firm office group. Somebody asked that who is, let's say, Fatma. And then the two responded that Fatma is an advocate, she's a human rights lawyer, da. And it was not true. Like, it's not true.
Okay.
And so it tells you that you can get the output from the AI, but there is going to be a need to use your skills, to use your intelligence as a human being, to verify, to check if what that tool is actually telling you is true. And so when it comes to the legal profession, actually, it's true that people can now maybe draft contracts, online. maybe they can review documents. But I believe that in most instances, you would not have, let's say, a contract that is fitting within the context of Tanzania. It might not be able to give you the proper safeguard that a good lawyer would actually be able to tell you or see. And so the reason why I am not scared with AI when it comes to job, I think it's the time where we just need to upskill ourselves, to relearn, to understand that we need more skills. We need the ability to be able to analyze output from AI. We need to be able to understand how to use this AI tool. Because sometimes you might find people they're saying they're using ChatGPT, but they're actually not efficiently using it, They're using a bad prompt. They're not getting proper output. And they're getting a lot of hallucination. They're not researching. And so I think a good way to use a tool is actually use it. I actually encourage people to use AI even at the office, but I'm always telling them, one, use it in a proper way, in a manner that you're not violating client confidentiality. I'm a lawyer, so a lot of documents come with confidentiality. And so one, use it properly, ensure you're not violating any confidentiality. Two, you need to do the work. You need to do the research. You cannot rely on the output of AI, because I've seen it a lot of time. There's a lot of hallucination. It will refer to a law that is not even in Tanzania. And you might just take that opinion and give it to your client. But that will be your fault. We have a scenario whereby lawyers have written court submission by using AI, and they have submitted them in court. And then what happened is that the AI formulated some case law, like some precedent that have never been in court, but they created the cases. And so I remember one case in UK whereby the lawyer was actually told by the judge that they had been unethical by using AI and not verifying and referring to cases that are non-existent. And so they were sent to the professional association to be disciplined. And so it does tell you that, yes, we're going to have AI. We should be using AI tools, but we need to use them with caution. We need to know how they work. We need to verify. We need to analyze. We need to counter-check the output and ensure that they're correct. There are no hallucination. They're not violating anyone's intellectual property or anyone's right in the process.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, AI cannot work alone without human intervention.
True. I think there's a saying that AI is just an assistant, and AI will not replace your job, but someone who uses AI. And so it shows that AI is a tool that we need to use, like how we moved from using papers to using computer. It was just a tool. Everyone learned to use a computer. And so I believe everyone should learn to use AI and we'll be fine. We just have to learn new skills that are going to be fitting for AI use case.
We as Tanzanians, I want you to be 100% honest with me on this, because it is something that is very concerning to me personally, and I'm sure to you who is listening, you're also very concerned about this. Is our data and our personal information that is in our phones or that we post online, is it really safe?
So I think our data is not safe.
Okay.
And this is because there's a lot of data scrapping that's actually happening. When you keep your information online, people can scrap that information from different platforms, from different websites. And this speaks to they are not being proper safeguard. There being no proper regulation, proper guideline on how people can collect and use our data. And when it comes to the African context, I think this is like a big problem, because a lot of our data is actually sitting in big tech companies or entities that are not even in Africa, and sometimes we don't have, I would say, the resources or tools that enable us to even hold our data. And so I think this is something that not only in Tanzania, but actually across, I would say, even in the world and in Africa. We're having discussions about how to ensure data is handled in a manner that's more, I would say, protected and safe. So we have data localization requirements that are normally requiring that certain kind of data, especially like sensitive data. In Tanzania, the financial sector, BOT, normally requires every kind of financial institution to have their servers, their primary data center here in Tanzania. And that's one way of data ensuring we have data localization, we have control of our data. We also have a discussion on digital sovereignty, and how we can be able to attain it. A big part of it is also being able to have control of our data. And this is something that I think requires, I would say, like a multi-stakeholder approach and conversation and effort to ensure that our data is safe. But I think when it comes to individual people, it's quite crucial to always think of the kind of data that you're putting out. Sometimes we now have a lot of people who are also keeping good content, I would say, or quality data behind paywalls, and this is because people have understood that there's a lot of data scrapping that's going on, and they're keeping their very rich content behind paywall. So in order for you to access it, maybe you have to pay, and so I think even as Tanzanian, we need to kind of rethink because in the digital age, they say data is the new gold, it's the new oil, and there's actual value. I think most of the time as Tanzanian, we lack to see the value of our data. Like, that's the challenge. We don't see the value, and we easily give away our data without thinking on how it's going to benefit someone, on how it's going to be used. And I think that is what needs to change.
I know that, most Tanzanians, whenever you bring terms and services, just, I don't have time to read this. Accept. I just want to create my account.
True. And I think sometimes they even opt out, like you can opt out from maybe some of these tools using your data to train on their models. But sometimes you find people are just using ChatGPT, they're just using Twitter, they're not checking if they can turn off maybe Grok using their data. Like, but they're actually also tools that are also built in some of the system that can maybe assist with restricting on how your data is used. But then we don't even know, or people don't understand.
Why should an average Tanzanian care about internet governance?
So I think internet governance is quite big. Think about the internet, like how wide it is, and think about internet governance. And we can look at it from one, the infrastructure,
Okay.
I think when you look at Tanzania is quite a big country, but it's quite true that you will not be able to access internet every single corner of this country. So there's quite a need to have internet access across the country, sometimes people in the urban areas are benefiting or getting certain opportunities just because they have internet access, whereas some people maybe in a rural area cannot even access internet. It also speaks to the cost, of even being on the internet. And this is why we need to care, because I think today we can all agree that in one way or the other, we all want to be online. We all want to actually be able to engage, to learn, to be entertained online. However, sometimes it's not always possible because maybe data is expensive, and this comes down to the tariffs that are being imposed, on this kind of services, the government. And so it also comes to how the internet is actually governed, a lot of our laws are set by the government, but I think there's a gap in ways in which they're implemented and how we can fashion a better, I would say, like internet in Tanzania, from how it is used, from the benefit. We're having a lot of, I would say, public services now being delivered via e-government. However, it's still a challenge for people to access, for people to even understand how to use the internet. And so I believe in 2025, there's actually a need for everyone to, one way or the other, to understand, to demand better internet governance in our country, and to also be part of the people who use internet and benefit from it.
You are a public figure with many hats. You have authority in a lot of stuffs that you talk about, because people look up to you. I'm sure a lot of young girls in schools, they look up to Fatma Songoro, like, I want to be like Fatma Songoro. Even if I had a daughter, I would love her to be like you, to follow your steps, because I really like the way you take yourself, the way you look decent online, you look decent in public. That's really nice. So my question is, how do you empower more of these girls in schools just to be like you? Yeah, I mean, to be lawyers or to deal with tech as you do.
So I think when it comes to young girls, actually, I really hope that we have more women in the tech space, in the legal field, and I think we're getting there. We're seeing more people coming into this field.
Okay.
Personally, one of the things that I think I am normally very happy about that I'm involved in is a program that is actually run by the Pink Hijab Initiative. And this program is geared towards going to schools, speaking at girls, especially at the secondary level, trying to inspire them, trying to speak to them about self-awareness. Because I think the Pink Hijab has a lot of phenomenal women working in different fields. And I think one thing that we did come to realize was that we were all able to get somewhere because of self-awareness, because of being able to understand who we are, understanding our values, understanding where we want to go, and having the tools or the means in how we can move in our careers. And so having that understanding, we decided to start a program of going to schools, of sitting down with young girls and speaking to them, one, understanding what are the challenges that they're facing. And I think every time we go to these schools, we normally hear from young girls things that are quite interesting, sometimes things that are very sad, sometimes seeing how people lack hope. And so by that, we then speak to them. We try to provide some mentorship. We try to instill hope in them that it's possible for anyone to be anywhere. It's possible for a woman to get into very technical roles, and we provide, I think, that bridge whereby someone is able to see that it's possible. And I think that's one way that I would say I am normally involved when it comes to young girl. But when it comes to law and women who are maybe studying law. So at the Tanzania Women's Lawyers Association, because this is an association of lawyers, we're normally working towards empowering younger lawyers. And so we have a mentorship program that is being launched in different universities. We have a mentorship club at the University of Dar es Salaam, which is geared toward providing mentorship. You know, you might be at the university, you might not understand the the working environment in the legal field, and having that kind of mentorship, having someone to tell you this is what being a tech lawyer means, this is how you can do it, is quite important. And so that is also how we are adding value and ensuring that we're having or bringing more women into law, into different areas. And I think the last one will be with the Tanzania Privacy Professions Association. So we also have a student wing, and I think this year we deliberately say that we want more students as members in the privacy profession, because we realize these are the future generation who are going to really assist in shaping how the Tanzania privacy landscape would look like. And so we are intentionally looking out for people who are interested in privacy, whether a lawyer, whether a tech, whether you're in procurement, whether you're in public, we want to bring them up. So regardless of where your interests lie in, we are trying to bring them up. And so I think those are the three that I really think that are making an impact.
There's not so many women who follow us. Maybe I think it's
Really?
20% of women that, that watch our show.
Maybe you need a host that's a female, someone to relate to.
Yeah, maybe
So I
I'll
think
try and get a
this is a
co-host.
challenge to you who are organizing this podcast.
Yeah, because it's a lot of men. You know, you can see from the analytics, let's say on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, you can see like, okay, a lot of people who watch us are men from the age of 19 to 35. Yeah. That's why we are always trying to be relatable to that kind of audience.
I hope you find a way to bring in the women and that they're able to kind of relate and feel like this is a space that they need to engage in.
You told me that you sell insurance. You have a company on that, and you said that your company is Sharia compliant. You mentioned a name that I forgot.
So the company is called Huzur Takafur.
Okay. So I never heard of insurance that is Sharia compliant. Can you please enlighten me on that?
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Islamic insurance, actually, to debunk the first myth that is normally there, it's like maybe it's meant for Muslim only. No, actually, it can be used by any person regardless of their faith. However, the difference with the traditional modes of insurance comes with how the insurance model is structured in Islamic insurance. And so, when you go to an insurer, a normal insurer, you pay premium. You pay money to the company takes the money, they take the risk, and they will pay you if an accident happens. If it doesn't happen, then the year has lapsed. That's it, right?
Your money is gone.
I hate saying your money is gone because somehow you are protected. So you did have some coverage, and that's a benefit. You might not feel that maybe umenufaika at that point in time, but it was a benefit that was there. So when it comes,
felt safe.
Yes, like there is something that you're gaining out of it. So when it comes to Islamic insurance, how it works is that when someone contributes money,
Okay.
that money goes to a fund. There's a fund. And that fund is the one that takes the risk, that pays the claims, and that has ownership over the money. The fund is then operated by a takafu operator. And this means that the takafu operator is actually an agent. They do not have ownership over the money or the fund, but they're just an agent overseeing. Like how we have fund managers like in investment. And so the same concept does apply here. That is a fund which is managed by a takafu operator. And so what normally happens is that when the money comes in, a portion of the money is normally paid to the takafu operator as agent's fee, like commission. And this is the money that is used for them to cover the cost of marketing, the employees, and all these other expenses that they might incur. And so they have a commission out of that money. The other money in insurance sector, you're normally required to invest also, because you need some sort of to meet insolvency requirement and have some investment. So a portion of the money is normally taken for investment. When it comes to traditional insurance, sometimes that money is invested in treasury bonds or in activities that are not halal or in alignment with Islamic principle. So when it comes to takafur, that money is actually ensured that it's invested in investment ventures that are Sharia compliant. And so your money is not in any way going into an interest bearing investments such as treasury bond, or it's not going into an alcohol business or any kind of business that's not halal. And then the other part is that there's going to be money that is also left into the fund for payment of claims, so that when someone suffers any kind of accident or damages, they're able to be paid. And in that fund, in that remaining amount, it can happen that sometimes there's surplus, whereby maybe at the end of the year, claims are paid, but there's a little bit of money remaining. And so what normally happens when it comes to Islamic insurance is that the investment that are made are going to have a return. There's going to be a return on the investment. There's also maybe going to be surplus from the fund that has remained. And so all this money, after the operator does the financial statement, sees and examine if there are any profit or loss. If there are profit, if there's any money that has remained or gained out of the revenue, it's supposed to be shared to the people who contributed to the fund, so the people who got the insurance, and the Takafu operator. So there's also a profit sharing between the people who are being insured and the person who is running the insurance. And that's also another difference when it comes to Islamic insurance. So ideally, it's just a model in how it's structured and how the insurance is operated. But when it comes to the amount that you pay, the premium, maybe when you're getting your third-party insurance, or when you're getting your comprehensive, or when you're getting your professional indemnity insurance, they're normally fixed rate by the Tanzania Insurance Regulatory Authority. So they apply to both the Kafur insurance and the traditional insurance. And so I think the Takafur insurance is quite a good insurance model. And I hope there's actually more uptake. And if anyone is interested, I'm always happy to share more information, explain to people how it works.
And how can people find you?
So I think I can provide my details.
Okay.
One, I think anyone can search me in LinkedIn, in Instagram, and they'll find me. My username is Fatma Songoro. I think you can just find me and search me. But I could also share my number that it's a number that someone can reach me.
Okay.
Which is 0752 255 494. For anyone not in Tanzania, they can use 2 plus 55.
You heard it here. I'll also put Fatma's number down in the description, because I didn't know that's how Sharia compliant insurance works.
True, I think a lot of
Since
people
I know
don't.
right now, I don't think I'll ever take any other kind of insurance.
So I got a client.
Yeah, you secured a client right here. As a lawyer, what's one piece of advice that you would give to every entrepreneur who is watching us right now?
A lawyer to an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot, but I think what I would say to every entrepreneur, you need to start on the right footing in your compliance.
Okay.
A lot of time people start business without the proper understanding of what they have to do, of what their tax obligation is, of the license that they are required to get. And by that, it actually normally results into a lot of challenges and problem in the process. You might be trying to grow, but now you're realizing that you have this hefty tax fines that Tere maybe wants. And so I think for anyone who is starting a business, always consider getting a lawyer or seeking proper guidance in whatever you want to start, and understand the laws, the legal framework, the regulatory framework of the sector, of the area that you want to operate. And I think that is how you can build sustainable and be able to grow as a business if you are serious and you want to expand to higher national levels, I would say, maybe.
I think that's very important, because one of them days it happened to us. Our company, we had a company that never made any kind of money, but then our tax bill was like 100 million. I'm like,
I think
I didn't even
we,
make 1 million. How do I owe 100 million to TRA?
yeah,
There are
yeah.
a lot of fines that are fines that are fine. You didn't file this, you didn't do that, you didn't. It was crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know if it has to be taught at university level or at what level. I
Yeah.
think there is quite a need also for the government to really push out the basic entrepreneurship requirements in order to enable the younger generation to understand. But I think it's also about before you start anything, speak to people maybe who have already been there. Sometimes it doesn't have to be even a lawyer, but maybe someone who has already done that thing or is quite aware with how business work and they're able to tell you properly. But it has to be someone who has done the business correctly also, so you don't end up getting guidance from someone who is also doing something wrong. But I think it's quite a big challenge. I always have a lot of clients, a lot of startups coming in with a lot of problems that just because they didn't know what they were supposed to do.
If you're starting a business, one piece of advice that I'll give you, you must have a lawyer in place before you do
True.
anything. You must have a tax accountant in place. You must have a mentor that has done what you want to do. I'm saying you must because if you don't, you are doomed to fail. But if you do, you'll avoid a lot of mistakes that you're not supposed to do them. It's very, very important. You must do that. So the final question is actually not my question. The previous guest left you a question.
Oh,
And
may I know the previous guest?
Yes, he's the founder and CEO of Sahara Ventures. His name is Jumanne Tambalike. Yeah, we had him on the show. So he left you a question. And the question was, if there's one thing you could do to transform the life of young Tanzanians, what would it be?
So if there's one thing I could do to transform the life of young Tanzanian, I think this coming from Jumanne, someone who's very passionate in the younger generation,
Yeah.
it's quite a difficult question, I would say. But I think to me, if there's one thing if I can do or transform in the younger generation, is giving them the confidence, the ability to actually inspire and dream big. I think most of the time we are always, I would say, thinking on how we can do things, but without having the confidence or the belief that we can go out to African level, to global level, like we can build business, we can build tool, we can provide services that are able to compete in the international, in the regional level. And I think this is something that requires a direct effort to build the, I would say, like confidence, the courage, uh, the support that it's possible for someone to actually, for a young Tanzanian, to be able to do something that can actually penetrate the global market. And so I would say to every young person that it's possible, it can be done, and that is how we need to dream. Like, we need to stop dreaming small. We need to stop having vision that just reflect our locality. The world is becoming more global and we need to do bigger things.
There you had. As a young Tanzanian, you should always think big. I've noticed like a lot of Tanzanians compared, let's say, to Kenyans, Nigerians, the Chinese, a lot of Tanzanians, they are not aggressive when it comes to chasing their dreams, when it comes to reaching up to their goals. That's why we are always behind. And I think it's because of our past. You know, we used to be wajama, stuff like that. And then we came to the market economy. I think that's why we don't really have that drive. If you have met the Americans, you will know that these people, they have a drive that has been instilled in them since like they were kids. So most Tanzanian, we don't have that, which is very bad, and I think that should be changed.
I think when it comes to the younger generation, actually, I think most of them will probably not have lived through Jama. And I think that's something that we need to change, that we were not built for this. I think that's also part of the problem, because I believe a young Tanzanian is actually as capable as a young person in New York. Like, we're actually very smart, I think Tanzanians are very smart. It's just that we maybe lack sometimes the support or the confidence or the courage. And so I would like to ask people to move away from that idea that we do not have that in our blood. We do not maybe inherent have that character. And I want people to be able to understand that it's possible for them to be aggressive. There's actually a need for us to be aggressive. There's actually a need for us to compete in international levels.
And what question would you like to leave to the next guest without knowing who they are? They must answer it.
I'll have to see. I need a minute to think about this one, because without knowing the guest.
Yeah.
So I think a question that I would like to ask the next guest, I think, is asking them, what is something that they did, like one story whereby they empowered a woman, that they are able to share, and for the people listening to learn from them.
Yeah, that's a very nice question, and all the best to the next guest in answering that.
I look forward to hearing the reply and learning from them.
Yeah. So we're done here today. We had Fatma Songoro. Thank you for coming. I have a lot of questions that I wanted to ask you that I didn't ask yet. So I hope maybe one day you'll come for part 2, where we'll talk about internet governance. As you said, internet governance is very big. So who you are watching right now, please go and check Fatma Songoro's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere. Just go and DM her or comment that we need Fatma Songoro again on MYD podcast. Also, leave a comment down in this video that Fatma Songoro, just comment the name Fatma Songoro, and 100 comments, we'll have Fatma Songoro for part 2. Thank you for watching, and I hope you keep making your own destiny. And that's it for today. See you on the next one.